Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Friday episode of Jonnychipz Weekly. It is Friday, the 30th of July, 2021, and this is episode number 31, A Summer of Learning. So, yes, hello, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in again on this Friday lunchtime to get your fix for the weekly updates with Azure and a bit of news around community callouts and what I've been up to this week with work and Jonnychipz on the side. So, we're back to the trusted UK weather of drizzle after last week's heat wave that we had over here in the UK. It's looking out the window, a bit grey and a bit drizzly, but nothing that we're not used to, so I can't complain. Complain about the heat, I'm not going to complain about the rain as well. So, without further ado, we're going to stick to the usual format this week again. Let's jump on over to the desktop for some community callouts. So, okay, it is still obviously July, therefore it is still July OT, and I thought it'd be apt to kind of pick up half a dozen or so points that I noticed this week for July OT. Now, this week has been all about learning, education, certification around IoT. So we'll start off just with that little banner of July OT, and we'll drop into a learning path that is being put together by Paul DiCarlo, that you can find all the relevant Microsoft Learn modules that are relevant to the IoT space. And just remember that Microsoft Learn is effectively a free training resource, and the content of these modules is absolutely phenomenal. You know, it goes right into depth, certainly gets you the information that you need to get off the ground and running with IoT. Go and take a look at that. Now, I picked this up off a tweet from Paul DiCarlo. So if you go and follow Paul on his Twitter feed, you will see that there. But equally, just browse through the Microsoft Learn website for either AZ220 or just IoT, and you should be able to find this bunch of learning modules there. You can see there's quite a lot of hours worth of content there. So that's the first thing to call out on the IoT front. Another thing, obviously, this is one of the tweets that Paul put out there, just picking up on that particular module around Azure Digital Twins. It's just kind of really dig into some of the areas of IoT and actually how we're going to start using this in theory going forward with business in terms of what the digital twin is, how you can use it to kind of model your environment of whatever it is that you're looking to use IoT and IoT sensors for. So really great module, really sort of suggests that if you are interested in this future of where we're going with IoT, to take a look at those things. So thanks for calling those out, Paul, much appreciated. And on the same note, my good friend Pete, it'd be wrong for me not to call out his and the other people in the community, so Jürgen, James, and Reza on the AZ220 plural site learning pathway. I went through this myself to get the AZ220. At the time, I think there were one or two modules missing, but I managed to fill in the gaps with that knowledge. But fantastic set of resources. So if you are, like I said last week, if you are sort of lucky enough to have a plural site subscription through work, or if you've paid for one for yourselves, go and check that out, because there's a series, the entire learning pathway for 220 is up there for your convenience. Moving on, Olivier Bloch has called out that they've done some updates to the IoT documentation in terms of conceptual architecture. So I've not really read into this too much at the moment. I've had a quick flick through, but there's a number of conceptual architectures in terms of IoT solutions. And you can see here where we're basically on a bit of an introduction of what the conceptual architecture is all about. Kind of giving sort of sample and sample kind of workflows, I guess, in terms of what IoT solutions might be doing. It's a great set of resources. You can see there that we got IoT concepts, introduction to IoT, devices, platforms, and applications. So kind of giving you that kind of overarching architecture of what that solution might need to look like in terms of, helping you visualize the various components that go into actually making up the solution. Calling that out. So if you just go and do a search against Microsoft Docs in terms of, in the Azure Architecture Center, you can see that you can get to this IoT concepts piece and flick through these parts as you see fit. So yeah, July OT, obviously this is the last day of July today. It's come to an end. There's been some fantastic content. Like I say, go and follow the advocates over at Microsoft. So Paul DiCarlo, Olivier Bloch, Benjamin Carbe. If you go and give those guys a bit of a follow now, you can get back to all of this great resource and obviously hopefully get stuck into your IoT learning journey, because it's a super fun area. I'm certainly not done with that area myself. There's loads and loads for me to still learn, and I'm looking forward to getting stuck back into a couple of mini projects to help me on that path. So thanks for everybody for sharing everything this month in terms of July OT. Okay, and moving on, a few quick announcements that I noticed over the last day or so. So the South Coast Summit is kicking off later in the year. There's 1 day left. If you are a speaker or you're looking to do some speaking, they've got 1 day left. Submissions for speakers close tomorrow. That's the 31st of July. So if you are interested in speaking at the UK's largest in-person Microsoft Focus conference of this year, then go and submit a talk. I'm pretty sure I know a few people that have already submitted talks to that cause. So yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I'm looking to get down to it to watch myself. So yeah, get involved. That'd be great. And equally, sticking with conferences, the Azure Summit have just announced that they've actually extended the length of their sort of the Azure Summit Live from 7 days to 10 days. So from the September the 13th through to the 23rd. I believe it's just that they've had such an overwhelming response in terms of speakers and attendees and things like that. So congratulations to the guys over there, and go and give them a follow and get involved. I believe that's going to be an online virtual event, but you can register for it there over at azuresummit.live. And you can register for the event and take a look at the speakers. Like you say there, I think we've been through this a little bit before, but there are some fantastic speakers obviously getting involved with that event. And like we just said there, it's been extended from 7 to 10 days now. So huge amount of content over that 10 days worth of events. So go and check that out. Right, just calling out Gerard and Pierre's bi-weekly Twitch stream over on the Patch and Switch TV, twitch.tv channel, Testing in Production podcast. So the guys will be on there. It's Friday. They'll be on there this evening. I believe it's the Testing Production cadence tonight. So that's 5 p.m. UK BST time, but you can see there's all the other times there if you're interested. It's great fun. Get involved in the chat. Say hello to the guys. Talking about various different bits and pieces of how do you produce Twitch streams or YouTube videos using cameras, mics. Kind of just having a little play with. I think each time they do it, they'll use a different platform for capturing audio, for capturing cameras, and just have a bit of a general chat around those kind of things in terms of video production. So yeah, well worth getting involved and going to say hello to the guys on that. Ellie King has posted this around call for speakers for the Sundsvall user group, the Azure user group over there in Sweden. So go and check that out. I mean, if you are looking to branch out, obviously I'm based in the UK. If you're watching this, I know most people I know are based in the UK, but I appreciate there's international people that watch this video as well. But it's great to see the Azure user groups obviously working with the Welsh Azure user group as well. I know how great it is to kind of have that spread and invite people from international locations to come on and speak, because we're in that virtual environment. So yeah, go and follow Ellie on Twitter. Go and drop her a line or sign up here with the Sessionize page and submit your talk if you're willing to go and help those guys out over there and give a talk at the user group. Moving on. Okay, yeah, thanks, Vanessa. This popped up on my timeline the other day. It's certainly an exam I'm looking to study for. It's the Identity and Access Administrator SC300. Super fine there. So Vanessa tweeted out this the other day around there's a GitHub repo full of SC300 related labs and sort of learning effort here. So you can see we've got 31 different labs, ranging from things like working with tenant properties to working with security defaults and dynamic groups and everything in and around that identity and access management piece that you're going to need to know if you're going to go and sit that exam. So super fine. Thanks for that, Vanessa. Go and take a look at that. You can see it's under the Microsoft Learning GitHub account, and it's the SC300 Identity and Access Administrator. And like I say, each one of these is effectively a bit of a lab environment that you can just work through, point and click through the portal, and understand the concepts a little bit better for that exam. Moving on, great shout out by Jürgen as well this week. This again popped up on my Twitter timeline. It amazes me how many Azure developers don't seem to know about the Architecture Center. I mean, that's so true. And to be honest with you, I kind of flit in and out. It's just on those occasions where you get, a particular request. You think, right, where do I start with that in terms of how do I lay that out, format that? What ideas can I put into that kind of solution? When you get one of those curveball asks in terms of, what to, actually what to put into Azure, what to develop in terms of a solution. Jürgen is absolutely right. We've got this Azure Architecture Center, and you can see that we can browse the architectures. But if we scroll down to the different technology areas, you can see that in terms of architecture sort of templates or ideas, there are lots, in terms of, and Microsoft have kind of put them on the website here, which is under the doc site, Azure/architecture. And they've split that up between microservices, networking, server applications, IoT. So, I mean, just clicking on IoT for argument's sake, we get a good sort of set of reference architectures that we can, again, start to help us visualize and understand how we can piece these solutions together. So, really cool to see. And, a great shout out by Jürgen there. If you haven't used the Architecture Center before, it's a really good set of resources, even if it's an area that you're learning about at the moment. So, I mean, if we were to pick on data lakes for argument's sake, and you've not really done a great amount of work of data lakes, literally these links will take us straight through into, some great information on those particular areas that you can kind of consume, obviously, and get into. So, great shout out and well worth a look. The Azure Architecture Centers. And sticking slightly with sort of a networking concept. I don't know why I said sticking. I know why, because I put a tab later on and I haven't got to that one yet. But John Saville, if you've not followed John does awesome work in terms of weekly videos covering, the vast, diverse range of features and products from Azure. John's got a great YouTube channel. Go and check that out, where he does, like I say, all sorts of videos, really great, technically in depth and, easy to understand concepts using his whiteboards around Azure components and features. And this week he with the announcement, the Azure Firewall Premium SKU has been released that gives you that kind of next-gen firewall type capabilities of intrusion detection and prevention and things like that, and SSL inspection or offloading and things like that. I think it does that anyway. So John, I should watch John's video a bit more. So I did start watching this, not finished it yet because it is an 80-minute long video. So go and check that out, because that is definitely something I'm going to be coming back to and watching that video in depth, from a point of view of making sure that you kind of understand each component, each piece of things like the new premium SKU in terms of the capabilities of something like that. So it's just great to understand that from the top down, and John's put this video together. So go and check that out, everyone. It's well worth a watch. So sticking with that networking theme, obviously the AZ700 beta exam was launched last week. I managed to sign up for it. I've got it in a week or so's time. I managed to book it in for. Just calling out really that Microsoft Learn have released the set of learning modules, which is superb. It's just phenomenal how quickly Microsoft, kind of release these things. Obviously it's all pre-planned. I get that, but it's great to see a beta exam gets launched straight away. We've got 9.5 hours worth of learning material. I mean, it's phenomenal. So I've done some of these over the years. I don't think I'm signed into my account now. So I've done some of these over the years for doing things like the AZ500 security exam, the AZ, the 104, 103, 102, the admin associate. You kind of need to know a lot of networking concepts. It's just great to see now that Microsoft have pulled all of these learning modules together that kind of cover that skills measure, that objective domain of the exam. So go and check that out, especially obviously if you're going to go and sit that AZ700. It's well worth a look. Okay. Okay, then. So moving on, we will jump on over and we will look a little bit at Jonnychipz on the side this week. There's not been a huge number of events this week for me, but let's go and take a look, see what we've been up to. So, Twitter has spoken. First thing to call out, I've been procrastinating for so long now, and this is nothing related to tech. It's related to my personal life. I need to change my car. So I changed my car September. Stock levels in the UK are terrible at the moment because of the microchip shortage from the pandemic. So car manufacturers' orders are sort of 4, 5, 6 months on occasion, depending on what you're looking for. So need a 7-seater, managed to narrow it down to 2 that were available. So I put it out to Twitter. Never done a poll like this before, so I thought, I can't make up my mind. I'm useless at making up my mind. It was either a Ford S-Max or a VW Tiguan Allspace. Twitter has spoken. So, thank you. 63 people voted, said I should go for the VW. So I've done just that. I've ordered the VW. So that's the first thing I've been up to this week, which is cool. Looking forward to that. And it comes just after my birthday. So my birthday's mid-August in a couple of weeks' time, and I know my other half has gone and bought me something quite interesting and comical. So looking forward to kind of sharing that with you. It should be quite fun. But anyway, car ordering. Yeah, I'm a dab hand now. Been procrastinating for 3 weeks. Managed to finish that off, so I'm pretty chuffed with myself. So moving on, in other news, obviously BT, that's the company I work for. They've now announced, they've made it public, the strategic partnership that BT are reforging with Microsoft now. And this is, pan BT, so this is all areas of BT. They've got some great sort of initiatives, from things like Operator Connect being the obvious things from a telco. Operator Connect, they've launched voice services, extended voice services for Teams, Teams Voice, with hosted SBCs, hosted SIP and things like that. So that's all pretty cool. There's obviously BT Security. We're looking at managed Sentinel offerings, managed security, SOC offerings, things like that. And there's, a whole bunch of other MOUs going through BT and into the areas where I work as well. Looking at, a lot of different areas of Microsoft product stack. And how BT can include their IP and their USP, if you like, to partner with Microsoft. So it's a cool place to be working at the moment. There's lots of interesting things going on. Really, proud to be part of that team there. Looking forward to seeing what's coming. So it's great that they've finally been able to put that announcement out this week. So yeah, if you want to know more, hit me up. But yeah, it's good fun. This week, in terms of blogging, I thought I'd put a bit of a blog together with some of the things I've kind of observed over the last year or so of me, kind of doing these videos, learning a bit in public and kind of reaching out to the community. So I put a blog article together. You should start learning in public right now. So go and have a read of that if you fancy it. Let me know if you agree, disagree, if there's anything you think I should be talking about. That'd be fantastic. But as always, it is Friday, and we've got another episode of In Conversation With. But before we get to that guest for tonight's show, huge thank you to Mike Martin again. If you missed it, Mike spoke to me last week, all things Azure security. So we talked right the way through from shifting left in terms of developers, shifting left in building in security features and security, it's vulnerability scanning, security scanning in terms of dependency scanning and things like that into their code bases using GitHub and those scanning utilities through sort of DevOps pipelines and things like that. Mike took me right the way through from that story through to actually, looking at things like Azure Security Center, then moving into Sentinel with that threat detection, threat management, and SIEM and SOAR platform. So hugely fun, informative chat. If you did miss that, go and check out the YouTube video below. It's in my Jonnychipz In Conversation With series below. And like I say, huge thanks to Mike. It was a great chat and look forward to catching up with Mike again in the future. But like I say, we got a new episode tonight and really looking forward for this one going out. It was super fun recording this with May earlier, I think a week or so ago now. But this is going out tonight, so 6:30 BST over on the Azure Live Twitch.tv channel. May is joining me to talk things, all things Power Platform. So if you've not seen any of May's work, she's hugely active across Twitter. She is super fun, hugely creative in terms of the kinds of things that she's putting together, the apps that we go into the apps that she's developed and deployed through the business that she works for. And it's just like a breath of fresh air seeing the kind of work that she's doing with the Power Platform, as well as helping everybody else learn about what she's doing. It's just a fantastic thing that she's doing at the moment. Well worth a watch to the of this episode tonight. I'm so sure you're going to get something out of it, because I got loads out of it. So huge thanks to May for joining me. Looking forward to that one going out tonight. Like I say, please do join us if you can. Take part in the chat and say hello. That would be awesome. But yeah, that's Jonnychipz on the side for this week. Okie dokie. So we are going to, like I say, we're going to keep the format the same. I'm going to give you just a quick heads up on what's going on with the Welsh Azure user group, and in fairness, it's just the one announcement, really, just tell you about the next event. So that next event of the Welsh Azure user group is on Wednesday, the 11th of August, 6:30 p.m. BST, and in the event we have got Sasha Kranjek. He's coming on to talk to us around sort of securing our enterprise using Azure Sentinel. These are lightning talks, and then we've got Ricardo Zamana, who's going to talk to us about Reader's Cache. We've got two lightning talks, and then the guys over at Servant. So Servant, obviously, they sponsor the Welsh Azure user group. So we've got Pete Mitchell, Andy Norris, and Nathan Bird. They're coming on to really take us through that use case. They've done some superb work in terms of AVD and deployment of AVD infrastructures to quite a number of customers at the moment, but they've locked down effectively a reference with the University of Glasgow. They're coming on to talk to us about it, and that seems to be a really interesting talk. Really, that what did they have to do in terms of the pandemic, in terms of actually helping the University of Glasgow, stay productive in terms of getting access to a Windows Virtual Desktop, or an Azure Virtual Desktop as it is now. So super talk. Looking forward to that one. That's on the 11th of August. Go and follow the Welsh Azure group if you can, at Welsh Azure on Twitter. Go and RSVP for that event if you can. It'd be super fun to have you there. And yeah, you don't need to be from Wales to join. In other news, we have been sort of talking recently about maybe looking to September now for our first face-to-face meetup back. So it'd be cool. Drop us a line if you're in Wales, if you'd be interested in attending that one. We've not set any dates as yet, but stick around and follow the the Twitter channel. We'll probably be making some announcements and just gleaning some feedback on that. So yeah, looking forward to that. So that's our August talk. It's all set in stone. September, who knows? Who knows? We might be face to face with a bit of streaming. Let's see what we can do, eh? But yeah, cool. That's the Welsh Azure user group news for this week. Okie dokie. And finally, moving on, we're going to do some Azure news and updates. Okay, so it's not a huge number of news articles this week, but certainly some great sort of announcements that have happened this week. So let's just jump straight on in. So the first one that has kind of been, I wouldn't say a long time coming, but certainly a build-up and one of those features that, ideally would have been there earlier. But I'm not complaining it's not there, but it's just been released now. It's GA, starting VMs on Connect capability with AVD. So that concept of, sometimes you don't want to leave your VMs running, or your host, your session hosts running in Azure if they're not being utilized, because of course they're burning through money. They're costing you money. So this concept of when a user requests access to a session, if the VM is currently in an off or deprovisioned state, the concept is that it will start that VM. Now, clearly, it will take a little bit of time for that VM to start, for that user to then be able to connect to that session. But, as far as I can see, it's all quite user-friendly. So we've got the concept of a user goes and requests to log on and connect to a VM. If the VM needs to be started and allocated, it will be presented back to the user to say, yep, just starting at the VM. or just starting up the server, whole fire, and it'll automatically connect with the credentials provided. And I think that timing, is anyway. Just looking at the community at the moment, it's somewhere between the sort of 2 and 3 minute mark that you're waiting to log on for that first restart. But it's cool. It's great to see that that's been released now. Excellent little feature as part of the AVD kind of configuration capabilities. So if that's of interest, go and check that out. Another GA announcement, so Azure Stream Analytics tools for Visual Studio Code. That's cool, and I'm going to check those out actually because I'm doing a talk in a week or so's time for the Northern Azure user group, and we're looking at we're going to be talking a little bit around Stream Analytics. So if I get the chance, I might see if I can get those tools installed for that. But yeah, cool to see that we've got more and more tools and feature sets for VS Code, to interact with our Azure components. So that's cool. Another announcement, Azure Site Recovery Update Rollup 56. So let's just see. So we've got site recovery services, new improvements, enabling replication and reprotect options. They're faster by 46%. And then in the portal, replication can now be enabled between any two Azure regions around the world. So you're no longer limited to that replication just within your region, your continent. So that's a pretty cool thing to do now that we can now replicate in multi-region locations. Great announcements. Azure ExpressRoute has got now 3 new peering locations. Campinas, Sao Paulo 2, and Dublin 2. So that's cool. These are like the hub sites, I guess, to initiate the connection into ExpressRoute for any MPLS type providers. So 3 new announcements. Great to see. So ExpressRoute is now available across 79 global commercial Azure peering locations. Yeah, I mean, I know we've got quite a few. I think we've got 3 in the UK with London 2, and Newport or Cardiff, I think they list it as, but I think it's in Newport. So yeah, there's 3 in the UK that I'm aware of, and yeah, there's 3 more that's just been added globally there as well. So pretty cool. Okay, VMware Site Recovery Manager is now generally available for Azure VMware Solution. Great announcement. I'm not going to read through all this. I haven't read through all this in great detail, but just knowing that the Azure VMware Solution is that concept of taking your VMware setup and estate effectively into Azure, like a seamless, you can manage that in the same way pretty much that you're managing your VMware solution at the moment. The fact that they've now built in some site recovery services is interesting concept. So I will certainly be able to read of that. I've not come across a customer yet where I've spoken about VMware Solution, but I know, certainly in my work, we're getting a lot more conversation around hybrid, around, sort of hyper-converged, around that private data center type concept. We've got a lot of customers that are still using VMware for their on-prem virtualization platform. So for my mind, that's a conversation that's imminent to start happening a little bit more. So I think I will be reading a little bit more about the Site Recovery Manager services for it. Okay, the Azure Sphere SDK version 2107, update 1 is now available. Cool. And then we've got a couple of preview announcements. So immutable storage with versioning for blob storage is now in public preview. Cool. And we've got, finally, Azure Virtual Desktop is now available in the Azure China Cloud. So cool. If you're in those locations, that's great to see the expansion of those services. Okay, we'll call it there. Super thanks for tuning in and watching. Hope you've had a fantastic week. I hope it's a little bit sunnier than it is here in South Wales, wherever you may be in the world. Have a fantastic weekend and a great week ahead. Thanks for tuning in. Until next week, I've been John Lunn, and this has been episode number 31. Yeah, no, 30 or 30 something. Losing count. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. See you next week. Bye for now.